I showed up to my grandparents' house in a taxi. My grandpa opened the door, surprised. "Buddy, why did you come by taxi? What happened to the BMW we gave you for your 21st birthday?" Before I could answer, my mother stepped out from the dining room with that bright, practiced smile. "That car belongs to his sister now." The room went silent. My uncle stopped chewing. The old clock in the foyer got very loud. My grandpa went completely still. He looked at Mom, then at me, then back at Mom like he was reading labels on cans he didn't remember buying. What he did next changed everything. But let me back up, because this didn't start with the taxi. It started way before that, with 1,000 small moments where I said yes when I should have said no. My name is Chris. I'm 26 years old, the oldest grandchild in a family that mistakes silence for agreement. I run a small business painting custom Christmas ornaments, glass robins, tiny cabins with frosted windows, personalized snow globes that people order for their families every year. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. Or at least, it was supposed to be mine. I'm the guy who fixes things. The one who shows up with a cake when someone forgets a birthday. The one who pays when wallets suddenly go empty at dinner. People call me patient, but honestly, I'm just conflict allergic. I learned early that a calm voice and a credit card make problems disappear faster than any argument ever could. "That's our Chris," my mom likes to say. "He's steady." Steady. That's the word they use when they mean useful. That Saturday, I was juggling sample boxes for the holiday market. Still had glitter in my hair from a batch of snowflakes I'd finished that morning. I was halfway up my grandparents' porch when Grandpa opened the door in his sweater vest. "Buddy, why did you come by taxi? What happened to the BMW we gave you for your 21st birthday?" I froze. In the hallway mirror, I caught my reflection tired, smudged with paint, looking exactly like the kind of guy who would say, "It's fine. Don't worry about it." Before I could answer, my mother appeared with that smile that meant she'd already decided how this story would go. "That car belongs to his sister now. You know how hard she works. Chris hardly drives anyway. He just paints little balls." She laughed. The kind that pretends to be kind. The temperature in the room changed. My uncle stopped chewing. Grandpa went completely still. "Belongs to who?" he asked, even though he'd heard her perfectly. "To Lexi," Mom said. "Chris hardly drives." My uncle snorted into his coffee. "Mom," I said. My voice did this thin, embarrassing thing. My sister Lexi poked her head around the corner with a ring light reflection in her eyes. "It's just logistics. I have meetings." Grandpa rubbed his jaw once, the way he does when he's doing math in his head. He patted my shoulder, gentle. "Come in, son." He didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He just folded his napkin and, in that polite tone he uses with contractors who overbid, started asking questions. I wish I could tell you I said something sharp right then. I didn't. I slid into the chair next to him and pressed my thumb into the cardboard of a sample box until I felt the edge bite into my skin. The first question was simple. "When did the car start belonging to your sister?" "Dad," Mom said, warning in her voice. "Let the boys speak," Grandpa said. The truth crouched in my chest. I could feel it scratching to get out. "I don't know," I said. "It just happened." And that was the worst part. It had just happened. Over and over again. Let me tell you about my family business. People romanticize that phrase. They picture cinnamon in the air, a bell over the door, cousins laughing while they tie bows. In my family, business is the word you use when you need Chris to swipe his card without asking questions. I started Chris Works, ornaments at 19, right after a seasonal job packing craft kits. First paycheck, I bought a used airbrush and a box of misprinted glass bulbs from a closing party store. Nights, I watched videos about hand lettering until my eyes burned. That first Christmas, I set up a folding table outside a grocery store and froze my face off while I painted names. Olivia, Ethan, Coach Davis. I still remember those people because they stopped and smiled at a kid doing careful work. By 21, I had regulars, teachers who returned every year for their class. Couples who ordered tiny versions of their house with the right number of windows. The work was steady. The money was real. The BMW was Grandpa's idea. "A craftsman needs reliable wheels," he said, and marched me to a dealership where he ignored the shiny, stupid cars and picked a sensible used sedan with good brakes and a trunk big enough for market racks. He shook the salesman's hand. "This isn't for show. This is for work." He handed me the key with that practical pride that's warmer than any speech. Mom smiled for the photo. Later, the smile cooled. Not because she disliked me having a car. She liked anything that could be leveraged. She was just annoyed. She wasn't driving the moment. We keep things balanced, she said. Family equity. Balanced, in our house, meant if Chris has a tool, it becomes community property. If Lexi has a platform, it becomes family identity. Lexi is 22, charismatic, and, as Mom says, front of house. Translation. She posts things on social media. She talks into cameras like they're people, and people talk back. Once in high school, she got a free pair of leggings for a brand shout-out, and you would have thought she discovered penicillin. The creep started small. Lexi needs a ride to a collab. Lexi needs to borrow the BMW just for the weekend. Mom needs the business debit card for a little ad spend to help everyone. I said yes because saying no in our house felt like slamming a door in a library. Everyone hears. Everyone acts offended. Then came the first loan. Mom called while I was sealing a dozen tiny reindeer. Honey, she said in her sugar voice, your father's hours got cut this month. Could you front the mortgage? Just until the tax return. I did it. $1,800 plus fees. The next month, it was utilities. Just this once. We'll square it when Lexi's brand deal hits. It never hit, but they kept reminding me we were a team. You're the entrepreneur, Mom would say. Write it off. Meanwhile, the BMW started living at Lexi's place. She posted mirror selfies with my car, like it came from the content gods. When I asked to use it for a market across town, she said, I already have shoots scheduled. You work in a garage. She said it without malice, like weather. When I pushed harder, Mom sighed like I was being unreasonable. You hardly drive, Chris. Uber is a business expense. Lexi has meetings. So I took Ubers to load-ins. I hauled boxes in the trunks of drivers who looked at me like I was building a nest. I told myself not to be petty. I poured the resentment into holly leaves and clean paint lines. The fog thickened. Charges hit my card I didn't make. $249 for a promoted post package. $119 for an influencer boost. $87 here. $63 there. My business card was linked to a family marketing account Lexi set up. When I confronted her, she blinked. The brand has to grow, Chris. What brand? I asked. The brand is me painting until my shoulders hurt. Don't be selfish, Mom cut in. Your sister's bringing eyes to your little shop. That's priceless. I started tracking everything. A spreadsheet at 2 a.m, breath fogging in the cold garage, line by line, mortgage transfers, ad charges, gas for a car I didn't have, gifted inventory for Reach. We funded custom orders Lexi promised on my behalf because we need to be generous for audience trust. I added it up twice because I didn't believe it the first time. The family chat is called Family Circle, which is funny if you like irony. Mom announced the Thanksgiving plan. Everyone contributes $300 for catering. Lexi can't. She's investing in content. Chris will cover for her. He also owes us for the car insurance. I typed and erased 10 responses. Finally, I wrote, I've covered a lot. I need the BMW back. Also, please stop using my card. Mom replied instantly. Ungrateful. Your grandpa gave that car to our family. We decide what's best. Lexi dropped a heart on Mom's message and posted a selfie captioned, On the grind. Dad sent a thumbs-up emoji, the universal sign for, I don't want to be here. That week, my bank pinged overdraft. My shop rent auto-debit hit after another ad charge cleared. I slept on the workshop floor that night because going home felt like losing ground. 2 days later, Grandpa's table, roasted chicken, soft rolls, peas with butter that tasted like childhood. He passed the peas. So, he said, like asking about the weather, the car. Mom jumped in. Dad, don't make this a thing. Grandpa smiled in a way that didn't move his eyes. I'm just asking for the story. Lexi stirred her water. It's simple. I'm using it more. Grandpa looked at me. And you, son, do you agree it's simple? The only word that came out was small but solid. It didn't fix anything, but it changed me. The next morning, Mom added me to a new chat called Holiday Hustle. It had color-coded cells and percentages that looked like a ransom note. Family booth this year. Lexi films. Chris produces. Dad manages logistics. Profit split 60%. Lexi marketing. 20% family fund house bills. 20% Chris materials. I stared until the numbers blurred. There it was. Theft dressed as teamwork. No, I typed. My booth. My products. I'll pay for help. I'm not giving 80% away. We raised you, Mom replied. Also, I need the Square reader, Lexi added. I connected my account, so payouts hit my wallet. Easier for everyone. Easier for everyone except me. I didn't argue. I opened a new tab and started a list titled, Everything I've Paid For. It was longer than I could hold in my head. The total sat there like a dare. That's when I realized I could either be the bank or the business. I couldn't be both. I called Grandpa. I need advice, I said. Come over, he said. No questions. He already had a yellow legal pad on the table when I arrived. He nudged a pen toward me. Tell me what you owe and what they owe you. I opened my laptop and showed him the spreadsheet. Mortgage transfers, utilities, ad packages I never approved, gas and insurance I didn't use, inventory gifted to influencers who never tagged us, refunds Lexi issued without asking. He listened without interrupting, just making a single tick for every $100. When I finished, he looked at the page, then at me. You've been subsidizing their lifestyle, he said. They're calling it love to make it go down smooth. Something in me unclenched, because he named it. He poured coffee. Okay, he said. Here's what we do. That night, I changed every password. I unlinked every device. I closed the joint account Mom had forgotten to step off. I ordered a new Square reader. I drafted a PDF titled Record of Transfers, Unauthorized Charges, and Inventory Losses. Then I sent one message in Holiday Hustle and one in Family Circle. Here are receipts for everything I've paid to the house since last year, plus business charges taken without consent. Total $8,742.19. I will not fund your bills this winter. I will not use Lexi's marketing. I will not split profits. Return the BMW by Friday, 5 p.m., or I'll report unauthorized use of a business asset. This is my boundary. Mom threats? To your own mother. Shame. Lexi, over a car? Grow up. Dad, let's calm down. I didn't reply. I drove Grandpa's truck to the shop, worked until 3 in the morning, and made 2 signs, custom name ornaments, cash, card, Venmo, new reader, and family discount suspended. Taping that second one hurt and healed at the same time. Friday at 5:23, the BMW wasn't in my lot. At 5:26, I clicked Report Vehicle Misuse with my insurer and sent the PDF to the family, plus my aunt, who's a paralegal, and Grandpa. Subject line, Record for business files. My phone lit up like a slot machine. Mom, how dare you involve outsiders? Lexi, you ruined my weekend. Me, return the car or I proceed. At 7:11 p.m., headlights swung into the lot. Lexi stepped out, tossed the keys like she was discarding gum, and wouldn't meet my eyes. The tank's low, she said. I needed it. There was a new scratch along the rear door. I took photos. I said nothing. She ordered an Uber and left. The lot went quiet. I put my forehead on the cool roof of the BMW and shook. Relief, rage, grief all braided together. Then my phone buzzed. Grandpa, proud of you. Come by tomorrow. I slept 4 hours and went to the market before dawn. December markets are brutal. You're freezing. Your feet ache. Your brain whispers that you underpriced everything. But that first weekend after I drew the line, I felt light. Like I'd put down a box I didn't realize I was carrying. Grandpa showed up at 9 sharp in his old wool coat. He bought 6 ornaments he didn't need. He handed me a thermos of coffee and took the spare stool behind the table. Good curve on that G, he said, watching me paint. He didn't mention Mom. He didn't have to. By noon, I'd sold out of the dog bone ornaments. A woman asked for Tucker with a tiny heart. While I painted, my phone vibrated non-stop with Mom's alternating guilt and fury. You embarrassed us. If the insurance goes up, you're paying. We're family. Family shares. I muted the thread and painted Tucker clean and small. At 2, Dad drifted up to the booth with his hands in his jacket. Your mother's upset, he said to the air near my ear. I know about the money, I said. I won't discuss it without Grandpa. My voice was steady. I didn't recognize it at first. He nodded once and left like a man who'd walked into the wrong waiting room. By evening, Mom had posted on Facebook about children who forget who fed them, and tagged me. One aunt called to say, apologize. Another aunt texted, proud of you. Quietly, always quietly. Sunday morning, Grandpa called a family coffee. Everyone came because when Grandpa asks, you come. He had 2 folders on the table, my spreadsheet and a thin stack of documents with tabs. Mom launched fast. Dad, Chris is blowing this up. Lexi needed support. He's punishing her. Grandpa held up a hand. We'll start with numbers. He tapped the folder. Chris has transferred just under $9,000 to your household this year and paid about $2,000 in business charges without authorization. He also lost use of a vehicle I purchased specifically for his work. He looked at Lexi. That is theft by use, even if you didn't intend harm. Lexi's mouth opened and closed. Mom laughed. Brittle. Dad, don't use legal words. This is family. Family, Grandpa said, should be the last place you encounter theft. Silence. The refrigerator hummed. Dad studied the grout. Grandpa turned to me. What do you want, Chris? I didn't give a speech. I said 3 things. I want the charges stopped. I want repayment on a plan. And I want a boundary. My business is mine. Grandpa nodded. Good. He slid the thin stack to me. Years ago, I set aside a small trust meant for family needs. After watching how needs have been defined here, I've reassigned it to you for the business. It's not a fortune. It's enough for a proper lease and a second workbench. Mom's chair scraped loud. You can't reward his tantrum. You're encouraging selfishness. Grandpa's eyes were kind and unmovable. I'm encouraging work and boundaries. Dad tried a middle path. Maybe Chris could still contribute after things stabilize. No, I said. Quiet. Firm. I won't fund the house. If you need help, I'll bring groceries when I can. That's where it ends. Mom pointed at me, finger shaking. You owe us. We raised you. You raised me to be useful, I said. I'm choosing to be respected. Lexi's voice came small. So where does that leave me? I was counting on collabs. If you cut me out, if your brand needs your brother's money to exist, Grandpa said gently, it isn't a brand. It's dependence. Lexi looked like she might cry, then got mad at herself for almost crying. Whatever. I'll figure it out. I hope you do, I said. And I meant it. No dramatic ending, no group hug. I took the folder and went back to the workshop. That week, I signed a lease on a corner unit with big windows. I moved my racks at night with help from my neighbor, a night shift nurse who refused cash and accepted a Best Neighbor 2025 ornament instead. I printed a clean window sign with store hours and custom orders welcome. I posted one video hands only, no face, just me dotting snow on a tiny blue mailbox. It got 100 likes from strangers and one from Grandpa, who doesn't even have an account. Mom adjusted strategies. She asked if I could loan Lexi some blanks so she could start her own line. I said no. She asked to borrow the BMW so Dad could check something under the hood. I said the car stays in my lot with a steering wheel club lock. Dramatic, she said. Okay, I said. A local paper ran a tiny piece on holidaymakers. They photographed my hands because my nails are permanently silver. The caption read, Small shop, steady hands. Grandpa clipped the article and stuck it on his fridge with a tomato magnet. On Christmas Eve, I closed early and took a box of seconds to the senior center. Paint smudges and crooked hats, ones I'd never sell. The manager cried. These are perfect to us. On the way home, I drove past my parents' house. Through the window, Lexi filmed by the tree, smile wide, lights perfect. For a second, I ached. Then I kept driving. I had cocoa to make and a shop to open in the morning. January was quiet. Quiet is how you hear yourself think. I used the trust to fix a leak, buy a proper spray booth, and hire a high school kid named Sam for afternoons. Sam labels straighter than I do, and tells me when my display looks like a dad's shelf, which is apparently an insult and a compass. We laugh a lot. Mom still sends occasional probes. Family dinner. Bring ornaments? I don't go. I reply, can't. Shop hours. Sometimes she replies with a thumbs down. Sometimes nothing. Dad came in twice and bought Fisherman 1989 ornaments with cash. Your grandpa's proud, he said. He says you did right. I wrapped the boxes. Good. Lexi posted a rebrand video in February. Lifestyle content, thrifting tips, apartment resets. She came in once, bought a tiny camera ornament for a friend, and paid full price. We didn't hug. We didn't fight. We were just 2 adults at a counter. It felt like a start. Customers started telling me their own boundary stories while I lettered names. A nurse who stopped paying her brother's tickets. A son who reclaimed a pickup used as a family Uber. A grandmother who said no to being the holiday ATM. They left with ribbons and lighter shoulders. On a Tuesday, Grandpa sat in the back with a crossword. Work is long but honest, he said without looking up. That beats applause. I kept painting and realized I was breathing easier than I had in years. Boundaries look mean to people who benefit from you having none. They call your no a betrayal. They say you've forgotten where you came from. They make being used sound like being loved. I used to fall for that. I don't anymore. Saying no didn't shrink my life. It made room. I sleep now. I eat food on plates instead of over a trash can in the garage. I stop by the senior center with a box of not perfects every month. Sam talks about math tests and playlists while she packs orders. I say, I can't do that, and I don't explain like a hostage negotiator. My relationship with Mom is accurate now. She invites. I decline. When we talk, I keep it on the weather and her garden. When she tries to slide money into the sentence, I step over it. Dad hovers between us like a moth trying to pick a lamp. Lexi is figuring herself out on camera. Good for her. What Grandpa did after that quiet moment at the table was more than paperwork. He didn't rescue me. He stood beside me while I rescued myself. He looked at me like I was already a man doing a hard, ordinary thing. And that look made the ground under my feet feel real again. I thought love meant paying any bill with family scrawled in the memo. Now I think love looks like a chair pulled up beside you and hot coffee while you make a list of what you can and cannot give. Love doesn't spin what isn't offered. Love doesn't rename theft to make it palatable. I'm Chris. I make small, breakable things that somehow last. I will help when I can gladly, freely, with both hands. But I won't be anyone's bank. I won't be guilted into sponsoring the version of me. They prefer a silent wallet with paint under his nails. I won't let myself be used again. That's the line. It's not moving. And if someone calls that selfish, fine. I know what it costs to say yes to everything. I like what my no has bought me better. Time, quiet, steady hands, and a life that feels like it's mine. Thanks for listening. And if you liked this story, share it with others. And don't forget to comment and subscribe for more stories about finding your voice when family takes advantage of your silence. Boundaries aren't walls. They're the foundation you build your life on.